The sky itself seemed to rage, as if warning that this boy would one day unsettle the earth. His name was Alexander, a man whose will alone would bend the fate of nations. Even as a boy, Alexander burned with an intensity that unnerved those around him. At 12 years old, he faced Bucephalus, an untamable stallion that no warrior dared approach. The beast screamed, hooves tearing at the ground, soldiers shouting for spears to bring it down. But Alexander watched. He saw not madness, but fear. The horse raged at its own shadow. He turned it toward the sun. The shadows vanished. The beast bowed. From that day, Bucephalus carried him through every storm of war. And King Philip, awed by his son's command, whispered words that would echo forever. Macedon is too small for you. Seek a kingdom worthy of your spirit. To sharpen that spirit, Philip summoned a master of thought, Aristotle. Under the philosopher's gaze, Alexander consumed knowledge, science, poetry, medicine, strategy. But what burned brightest was a single truth. Greatness belongs not to those who dream, but to those who act. Fate tested that truth sooner than expected. King Philip, betrayed and struck down by assassins, left behind a throne still dripping with blood. At only 20, Alexander wore the crown. But the crown was no gift. Rebellions rose like wolves, smelling weakness. Cities defied him. Rivals sharpened their knives. Yet Alexander struck with ruthless precision. One by one, he crushed every challenger. Greece bowed, and the boy became a king. But kingship was never his ambition. His eyes turned east, across the sea, toward the Persian Empire, vast, ancient, and unchallenged. With only 40,000 men, he crossed the Hellespont. Before stepping ashore, he cast his spear into the soil, claiming Asia not as a visitor, but as a conqueror. The horizon itself seemed to bend beneath the weight of Darius's army, scythed chariots, elephants, cavalry beyond counting. The ground shook like thunder as tens of thousands roared to battle. Outnumbered 5 to 1, any ordinary commander would have waited, defended, prayed. Alexander did none of these. He saw the gap. He struck like lightning. With a wedge of cavalry, he tore through Persia's heart, scattering men as a storm scatters leaves. Darius fled, his empire crumbled, and Alexander stood victorious against the greatest power of the age. Southward, he marched into Egypt. The people greeted him not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. On the banks of the Nile, he founded a city that would bear his name for centuries, Alexandria. Here, he was crowned pharaoh. Here, men began to whisper of him not as a man, but as something greater. But his hunger knew no rest. Through scorching deserts, through rivers that swallowed armies, through jungles thick with death, Alexander pressed onward. His men followed, broken in body, but bound by loyalty or fear. In India, they faced monsters they had never seen before, war elephants. The beasts crashed through ranks, tusks impaling shields, trumpets shaking the air. Many broke and fled, but Alexander adapted. He found the rhythm of the giants, struck with precision, and brought them down. Even the beasts of legend yielded to him, yet not all could match his hunger. At the edge of the world, beneath monsoon rains and endless mud, his soldiers finally refused. They would march no further. For the first time, Alexander turned back, not defeated by kings, nor by armies, nor by beasts, but by the will of his own men. 11 years of conquest had passed. From Greece to Egypt, from Persia to India, his empire stretched farther than any before. He had redrawn the map of the known world. But even conquerors are mortal. In Babylon, Alexander fell to a sudden fever. Some whispered poison. Others claimed exhaustion. No one knew the truth. He was 32 years old, a titan, gone in his youth. And yet, in those brief years, he had carved a legend that no storm, no time, no empire could erase. Alexander of Macedon. Alexander, the Great.